This is going to be really uncomfortable to hear. And when I tell people all the time, they're just like, what? They laugh. But a lot of people are not depressed. They're just broke. You can cure a lot of people's depression if you drop $1 million in their lap right now. Let's just be honest. Nobody is better than you. They may be luckier than you because they may have a little bit more knowledge that you don't have. But that can change today. It could change tomorrow. Let's get started. Most people are not clinically depressed, they're just circumstantially trapped. They're trapped in a space where they feel like they're out of options. They have no more opportunities. And if that is the mindset that you are constantly tapping into, then you won't have any opportunities because your mind is saying there is nothing else for me. I've exhausted all options. So now I wallow in my misery, I sit in my pain, and I complain about it. And I turn myself into this dark cloud until I can no longer function anymore. You got to understand that people are different when they have money versus when they don't. It's a very uncomfortable subject because people don't like to be honest with themselves about that. But in reality, a lot of people's attitudes wouldn't be what they are if they just had money. That's a lot of unpacking right there by itself. But it's the truth. It's a hard, uncomfortable truth. Here's the kicker. Even when you don't have money, that's especially when your attitude, your mood, your mental health should be in a high place. When you fall into depression, that is a very low frequency and highly contagious energy right there. When you fall into a depression over the absence of materials, now you're just asking for more of it. You're sending this energy out that I want more of this because that feeling for you is so strong that it is the strongest feeling in your world right now. God can't deliver you anything else because God can't reach you. Your mind has this very heavy block on it that you're not even in awareness that even if the thing was there for you right now in your face, you wouldn't see it. Your negative energy is too strong. And because your negative energy is so strong, what will happen is you will start to attract even more negative energy. It is why when people are broke and they start to get mad, angry, depressed, more things like that start to happen to them. But it's also why when people are happy and they're having a good day and it just seems like all of the great things are happening for them. It's energy. Our world is alive around us. And if you can believe it, you don't have to believe what I'm saying, but I'm telling you what I know to be true. So what most people are feeling is emotional weight of not having enough options. There are a lot of options in their mind. Majority of people feel that they can only make money or get money from a job source. There's nothing wrong with people working, right? We need workers, we need employees, and we need employers. This is how our society works. This is how we run. But if that is your only source of decisions for yourself, then you have severely limited what you can achieve or what you can acquire. And you would not have an issue with being in a place of depression based on the absence of money if you knew unlimited options for you to go and make money without relying on a job to provide that to you. This is called being resourceful. We've normalized emotional dysfunction that's really rooted in financial instability. So many people, as a result, are creating so many toxic environments and atmospheres for other people. This is what happened with people who are long-term broke. There's a difference between being broke and being poor. Being broke is economic. Things can happen in the economy that can cause you to go broke, but you have sources and resources that will help you to be able to rebound. Being poor, it is where people think they don't have any more options. They don't have the skills, they don't have the help, they don't have the opportunity. This is where people always turn outward for their problems. I'm in this place because some other factors outside of myself. And that keeps you in a poor state of mind. And that creates poverty. And that creates a whole lot of low functioning life experiences. I myself come from a place of poverty. I was raised in what we call the hood. And where I was raised, a lot of people were poor. First of all, for a very long time, I thought that was normal. I thought that was my state of normalcy. I didn't know that was possible to get out of that. I just so happened to be blessed enough to go to school outside of my state of normalcy, where I was exposed to many other atmospheres, kids whose parents were working in different lives, living in different neighborhoods. So therefore their children had the ability to be exposed to different things, opening their minds, their experiences all together. And because I had an indirect access to this, it opened my world to everything that I did not have, and it opened my mind to if I wanted it or not. The seed was sown within me. Now I can honestly say, because I come from humble beginnings, that God allowed me very early. I remember being about 15 years old or so. I remember saying that if I ever get to a point where I have the opportunity to live the life that I desired, then I will always come and help God's people. Now, in my mind growing up, that help was financially. In my mind growing up, that help looked like me getting a little bit of money, making some money, giving my money away to people who needed it. But now as an adult, I realize that that is not how you really help people. You help people by teaching people how to think different. You help people by helping people make greater decisions for themselves. You help people by giving people tools and resources to have a different frame of mind that they can employ whenever they want to. Because if I give you $5,000 today, that $5,000 is probably going to be gone in a couple of days, especially for people who have no financial book on how to utilize that money to make more money and grow that money and so on and so forth to get them out of the position that they're in. They're going to just utilize it for whatever they want to. When you give them money, you're not really helping them. You're just solving a right now need, but never a long-term solution. And so finances, wealth is every aspect of life. I knew that I had the opportunity to make money, and still myself, I didn't know how to grow it. I didn't know how to sustain it. I didn't know how to leverage it. And I couldn't really help people if I did not know how to do these things either. So I decided to change my point of desire. And instead of me desiring to make a lot of money so that I can give a lot of money away, I desired to turn inward and ask God to help position me to help his people. And I didn't put any specifics on that. I didn't put any details on that. I left that open. I didn't know what that life was going to be for me and what that journey was going to create for me. But what happened was it ended up creating a lot for a lot of people around me, more than it did for me in the beginning, because I still wasn't seeing it. I still wasn't seeing how God was positioning me intentionally and designing me for the journey to be impactful to other people around me. I knew something had to change, but I also knew that I didn't have the tools and the resources in order for that change to happen. So I had to create the space for God to use me. And that means that I was taken through a lot of things. That was a drastic loss for me in my life. I like to call it delayed gains now that I've gone through it, because you realize nothing is ever really a loss if you gain something as a result anyway. A lot of the years that I was depressed was because I just didn't have the resources that I wanted or that I desired. And I felt very unfulfilled as a result. Getting up every day, going to work, paying my bills, helping my parents, giving my money away. This was my life. This was my routine. I felt very, very unhappy. Why am I unhappy? I'm employed. I have a house with a roof over my head, food in the refrigerator, clothes on my back. And that's when I realized, like, a lot of people are not depressed. They're simply broke. But a lot of people are broke in spirit. Absence of the tangible thing is causing you so much mental decline that you don't even see that it is the absence of the intangible thing that has a greater effect on the energy that you're having right now in your life. And that intangible thing is spiritual brokenness. So a lot of people are not just broken money. They're broken vision. They're broken spirit. They're broken momentum. They have no motion. It makes me think of, like today, my mantra is take the E off emotion. They have no motion. They have no momentum. And so they're broken momentum as well. And when you don't have any momentum, there's nothing happening for you in your life. And that causes us to be in a state of unfulfillment. It's deeper than just like the hustle culture thing that I talked about previously. This is the spirit of scarcity that is draining your mental energy. And here's the thing. You don't have to be broke to have a spirit of scarcity. You can be someone who is comfortable living in your house. You have a great job. You pay all your bills. You know, you probably got a little bit of debt here and there, but you still have a spirit of scarcity that is keeping you from going to the next level. Scarcity isn't just for broke and poor people. Scarcity it hits everybody. I have been so broke that I couldn't even breathe right. But I was so broke. I felt like, girl, conserve the oxygen. I have been so wealthy to me that I can afford to do whatever I wanted at that particular point in time. I have done this cycle plenty of times where I've lost money, made money, had money, gave it away, had an investment, it went bad, got the money back, invested well. I learned lessons very quickly. I have been broke. I've lost my home, my job, my car. I've lost a lot of things in my life, but I've rebounded very quickly because I understand the importance of having faith and abandoning the mindset that materials or absence of does not rule exactly what I do, how I am, and how I want to maneuver through life. And that if I allowed those things things to weigh on my mind and my spirit the way that society does, I could not get to where I want to go faster. I will be in that place longer, and that's not what I desire. I had a very hard, dark moment for me. But at the point where I had about $17 in my account, I couldn't see my way out of that. Couldn't go outside at the time. It was cold. I had to choose between food and go outside. Food and gas is what I had to choose between. And I remember saying I don't have a proper coat. And I was like, I can't even afford to go outside because I don't even have anything properly to cover me. Like, it's cold and I don't even have a proper coat. I think I had a sweater and some long sleeve shirts, and I doubled up on that to keep me a little warm, and I had a hat. And I, at the time, was very prideful. I wouldn't call anybody, ask them for anything. I would just thug it out. But one thing that I just couldn't fight was my mind at the time. I thought I was just like in the lowest point of my life. I was fighting depression really, really bad, and I felt so depleted. It took me a while to realize I wasn't broken. I just didn't have enough money. And money is a resource. It's a tool. It's a thing that can be created out of thin air if you really know how to engineer money. And it is something that is easy to make if you think that it is easy to make. But I was looking at money as a singular linear thing. You had to get it one way. The people who gave it to you were in control. The only way to make it was to do labor, and you had to do labor in advance in order for you to receive it. I had all these stipulations in my mind that was preventing me from getting more than that $17.32 in my account. It was affecting how I saw everything. My mood was changing. My spirit was changing. My energy was changing. My motivation was changing. Even prayer was starting to be very distant for me because I got to the point where I was praying so much, it just wasn't working for me. Knowing what I know now, I realized I was praying out of desperation, and that never works. So how do we fix it? How do we heal the hole in our spirit when we feel like we don't have enough money to do what we need to do or to do what we want to do in our lives? There are 4 levels of brokenness. The first one is mental brokenness. You believe that lack is your portion. The cards you were dealt are your deck of cards. You believe that you have to make the best out of the cards that you were dealt. That's mental brokenness. Mental strength would be throw the cards in the trash and go find another deck. I want you to remember that. Anytime you need a transformation in your life, think about Romans 12:2. Renewing your mind creates so many different outcomes for you. It means that the way that you're currently thinking won't get you there, baby. You're going to have to abandon that. You're going to have to find a renewed process, restructuring, reconditioning, reframe process if you want to get somewhere new. Transformation requires renewal of the mind and spirit. The second one is emotional brokenness. This is where you go into depression because you don't have any money. You start to feel like your mood and your energy is changing. This is because you tie your self-worth to your net worth. And this is where we're going to break that apart, because your self-worth does not have anything to do with the dollar sign that's in your bank account. And if you can make the distinguishable separation between those two, then you'll find yourself in a greater aspect of life. So if you get to a point where you're feeling this way, you got to start asking yourself, okay, cool, this is my reality. What are my options on the table? And if you don't know what other options you haven't thought about, start researching, get online, get on the computer. The beautiful thing about today is we have AI, and you can tell that AI system everything that you're dealing with right now. And you can tell it, I don't know my options. Tell me what my options are based on XYZ, or tell me what you need to know from me in order for you to provide me viable options based on my current state, who I am, what my experiences are, what my leverage is. You tell me what my options are. It's no excuse. The third one is vision brokenness. You can't imagine yourself in that grand place. You can't imagine yourself having that grand opportunity, having that grand wealth, getting up today and then out of the blue encountering $20,000 is something that you've been trying to do, save for the last year. And you just got it in one day. You can't fathom that. You keep telling yourself that can't happen. That only happens to lucky people. Those type of things don't happen to me. Your vision is broken, and we're going to fix that. We're going to stop telling ourselves what's the impossible, because with God, nothing is impossible. Faith, baby. We're going to build our faith. Imagine if God says, yeah, I'm going to put your miracles on minimum wage this year. Can you imagine? Imagine if God said, yeah, I don't really have enough to go around, so we're going to minimum wage your life this year. Imagine that. Don't do that to yourself. God is a God of overflow. God is a God of abundance, but your spirit has to match that. You have to believe within yourself first. All of it is rooted within you. Remember, divinity is within us. So the God within you is listening to everything that you're saying to yourself about yourself and how you feel regarding all things that are flowing to your life. Remember that. And the fourth one is financial brokenness. You're not broke because you're lazy. You're not broke because you're poor. You're not broke because of your environment. You're not broke because of any of those factors. You're broke because you just lack strategy. Bingo, it's fixable. Strategy is fixable. Everybody in the world can learn strategy. It's a million, figuratively speaking, strategies out there that you can learn. Pick the one that's best for you based on where you are right now. And guess what? That strategy may be well today, and tomorrow it may not work for you tomorrow. And so tomorrow we just change the strategy again. And then next year that may not work. And so you just change the strategy again. You have to be a constant, complete, ever evolving process in order for you to get what you want. So your financial brokenness is just rooted to the fact that you just lack strategy. And when you lack strategy, that means you need to start inputting knowledge, reading, building, learning. Input gives you wisdom. There's always an abundance of wisdom that is out there for each and every one of us to tap into. You just have to be open to going out and doing the work. That's the work. Though we should put a lot of emphasis on building and creating. That's what we're here to do. Work from a place of hustle and grind and doing a whole lot of things that depletes your mind, your body, and your spirit will never bring you exactly what you are desiring. It will never bring you that. Wealth is produced, it's engineered. You don't just get wealthy by chance. You don't just get wealthy because some fluke happened. It's an engineered process. It's an engineered strategy that creates the entire thing for you. And wealth is like I said, it's not just financial. A lot of people think wealth and they think money, but wealth is not financial. Wealth is a system. It is your ability to have a system of things that keeps you in a wealthy state of life. And if you follow the 4 levels that I just gave you about your mental and your emotional and your visual vision, and now your financial, you will have a total wealth system for yourself that you can employ whenever you want to. And here's the thing. Here is the major key in this. If you lose it all today, you can get it back quicker than you ever had it before, because now you have knowledge. Now you have a system. This is why it is important for us to consistently input and compound knowledge, because you're working from a vantage point that everything you have within that system, nobody can take from you. Even if you lost every tangible thing in your life right now today, you know how to go back and get it back tomorrow. The enemy doesn't always have to attack you with people. Sometimes all it has to do is keep you checking your bank account. If the enemy knows like, oh, this person's mind is going to be tore up behind their bank account balance every single day, leading you to check your bank account every day is the enemy, because they know that every single time you see how broke you are, it's going to send you into a mental spiral. So we're not going to be very pretending about this. We're going to call out what it is. I'm broke. Okay, this is what I'm dealing with right now. We're going to be very honest about that. However that comes up for you. If you have $23 in your account, you say, I have $23 in my account right now. To me, that's broke. The next thing you do is you find the leak. Where am I financially hemorrhaging? Where am I losing the money faster than I can keep it? Now, if you haven't watched my video where I talk about if you don't have $1,000 in the bank, this is what I'm going to need you to do. It's on here on YouTube, and I suggest that you go watch it. This is where I break down tracking your money and understanding the destination of every single dollar in your account. Go watch that video if you need to, but this is where you plug the leak. Strategy. The next thing we're going to do is identify the assets that we have. So if you don't have any assets, write assets down that you would like to have and how those assets will contribute to your total financial picture. But if you have assets already, then you write down what the value of those assets are and how you can tap into those assets in order for you to get liquid money, or in order for you to have some sort of leverage to obtain capital from someone else. I want you to understand that assets are also skills. So if you have a skill, that is an asset for you. If you have a substantial relationship with someone that you can tap into, that's an asset for you. If you can provide a service for someone that is really good, that's an asset for you. Assets does not always mean property and, things of that nature. And the last thing that we're going to tap into is producing, like the productivity of it all. So we're going to set a 7-day income goal. And this is not going to be for survival, right? This is not going to be a 7-day income goal that you're going to set for yourself that is going to be based on survival. This is going to be a 7-day income goal that you're going to set for yourself based on stability. And we're going to have this goal be our stable number for our life until we have exceeded that and we're ready to go to the next level. This is your stability number. And this is a number that you should aim to reach all the time. If you aim to reach your stability number, you will 100% hit your survival number. So let's throw the survival number out of the door. Let's focus on the stability number. Here is your homework for the week. Every morning before you get out of the bed, before your feet touch the ground, number one, I want you to have a vision. Meditate on it. See it full out. If your vision is you want to be a speaker on a stage and you want to transform lives and you want to be in front of an audience, you need to see yourself on that stage down to what you're wearing, how the audience is reacting to you, how you feel on the inside. Sit with that feeling. I want you to visualize the vision, map it out in your mind. And then once you see it and you have created a feeling within you, right? And majority of us is going to be excited. I want you to just take the vision down and sit in the feeling and do nothing but sit in silence and allow God to speak to you, because that is where your next answers are going to come from. Silence. And then once you do that, get out of the bed, go grab a sheet of paper, and I want you to do exactly what I just talked about. Write down the skill that you have, the relationship, the skill, the service, whatever. Write down one of each if you have one of each, or just write down one that you can tap into that week and go and nurture that skill. You can also join me, Flip the Focus. It's a 7-day challenge where you will be working with me every day in Flip the Focus challenge group, where we will be intentionally creating spaces for us to win every single day, mapping out our skills, mapping out our purpose, our vision, getting that mental clarity, everything we just talked about in this video. If you don't want to do it alone, if you don't know how to do it and you need resources, tools, just support or commitment in general, tap into us. The link is in the description box below on this video. I am looking forward to you joining. Join the wait list to see if you can get in, and I'll see you over there if you make it in. Until next time, guys, I'm Nicole Swanson. Come back and see me.